I got a Daisy feeling. I got a Daisy feeling. Yeah.
Hello, people. I'm JABYBHAI, joined by Achara Kirk.
What's up?
We are continuing forward with the final episode from season 1 of The Romantics. Thanks so much for coming back. You guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to see a cut-down version of our reaction because we can only show you a limited amount of picture-in-picture. But if you want to watch the whole thing with us, no cuts, no interruptions, head over to our Patreon page, patreon.com/JABYBHAI, or become a member of this channel. You'll get access to the full uncut reaction, but you will need your own Netflix subscription, so you can open up each episode in an adjacent window to our reaction. We'll give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown sync, and it'll be like you're watching it with 2 of your favorite cinetheses from the internet. Now, if you're watching this on Patreon or memberships already, thanks so much for supporting us here. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, bell icon, all notifications, and pretty please vote this up. Let YouTube know you're enjoying what you're watching. Here we go.
What do you think about the term Bollywood?
No, I don't like that word.
Okay.
I'm assuming the B comes from the older name of Mumbai, Bombay.
While the song and dance is our identity, and I think one should embrace it because it's unique to us. We've come up with it.
Yes.
That's the voice that is reaching a global audience now.
I think people just want something that's easy to say. The term The Big Bang Theory, that term was initially derogatory towards the concept of the Big Bang Theory. And then it caught on, and now that's the accepted phrase for it.
Sony Pictures came in to build, it was the first time a Hollywood studio actually produced a Hindi film. Warner came in to make Chandni Chowk with China. God alone knows who okayed those films. but they did want to be in the game.
That's interesting that was produced by Warner.
One day Yash called me. He said, "Vakil, yaar, apne ko studio banana hai." I said, "Okay, let me work it out." I worked it out and I said, "It's financially not viable." He said, "नहीं बेटा, viable है कि नहीं है? मुझे studio बना के आदमी को देना है."
Wow. That's not that long ago. That's crazy.
I remember in the early 2000s when we created this facility, because I was studio manager, I would play host to a lot of the kind of people.
Wow. Whoa.
Most of this we didn't see.
I know. I was thinking, like, isn't that where we went for our meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, but we didn't see all the cool stuff.
So 2004 we saw a great high, 2005 and 6 consolidated. Then came 2007 and we kind of started to slip. And I realized I had to direct a film.
How'd it go?
I had not directed for 7 years because I was just consumed so much. And I realized that I need to give the company like a really big successful film.
No pressure.
Probably I'll have to do it myself.
Oh. I really, really enjoyed that film.
It's a story about a husband who has an arranged marriage and he creates this alternate persona.
Look at those jeans. Dang, bad boy.
I remember I called Shah Rukh literally from London and I said, I finished the script and I want to start in 3 months.
Wow.
And he was committed to doing a film which I'd just fallen off. He said, strangely, I've just fallen off. I'm on.
Nice.
What timing.
Yeah.
That's a fast turnaround.
So everything was under wraps. Nobody knew about it. Nobody was like, I think in the office, no one was allowed to tell each other. Like it was that big a secret. It was a huge secret.
Wow. It's like signing a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Like, can't tell anyone.
It's a really big deal.
But strangely, whenever I used to enter the sets of Ravi, it used to, as if some energy used to just take everything away. And I used to just be happy.
Yeah, because he's doing what he loves.
Could come out 26.
Oh, 26/11. Okay.
Oh.
Basically, he was kind of paralyzed. Rabne was coming out on 12th December.
Wow.
Literally in 2 weeks.
So what do? Do you push it or?
No.
Actually, within the company, even externally, felt that, just push the film.
No, people need an escape.
I'm going to take this risk.
Wow.
Jeez, man.
And I'm not going to change
That
the
is
date.
ballsy.
He's always been ballsy though.
It also came from my innate sense of confidence. When I look back, I think there's a lot of pride in what we all have achieved with YRF. It was a film that was with me for quite some time. And I wanted to make a really light film which does not have the pillars of Indian cinema.
Yeah, that's what I heard about it.
At that time, I was very seriously thinking of what happens to YRF after me. I need to create individual creative producers who have the YRF ethos, but are able to bring their own voice.
Yeah, passing the torch.
I have assisted on 3 films. And then eventually directing my very first film, Band Baja Barat.
I want to watch that.
By the way, conversation with Adi, I told him, I was like, this writer who's writing script, do you want to see it? It's a small film, maybe. He said, okay, send it to me. I was like, why don't you produce?
And I just told Manish, I said, you already have the girl.
Oh, what?
Like funny chick. So then I pushed her into a gym and I said, start losing weight, babe.
Wow.
She started doing that. And that's when Adi sir called me and said, are you sure Bhumi can act? And I was like, I bet my career on it.
Wow.
Okay, so there's this film where I need an overweight girl.
Oh my God.
I debuted as this overweight.
She looks totally different. That's crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of people were like really surprised that kind of film getting made in this studio.
Oh, he looks totally different. I barely recognized him.
What? You didn't recognize him?
No.
What was common between me and all the other YRF heroines was that we were very confident. You know, we had a lot of self-belief and we stood for what was right.
He looks so different.
As a professional actor, if I have to spend 100 days on a set, I'd rather do it on a Yash Chopra set than anybody else's. Because to me, to work with Yash Chopra is the ultimate happiness on set.
Yes.
I was doing a shot in Kashmir, but then he came and said, "Yaar, teri picture khatam ho gayi." Last hai, last shot.
यार मैंने आज तक लाइफ कैलकुलेटर के सामने बताई, कैलकुलेशन नहीं की लाइफ में। जैसे हवा के झोंके से दरिया के पानी से बहता रहा जहां ऊपर वाला लेके चला गया। मैंने लाइफ बताई है दिल मेरा क्या कहता है। जब मेरा दिल कुछ करे फिर मैं लोगों की परवाह नहीं करता हूँ। मेरा दिल कहता है बहुत हो गया। अब मैं जब तक जान के बाद तो फिल्म डायरेक्ट नहीं करूँगा यार।
I never knew before that. I said very loudly in that interview, "What?" And he looked at me and smiled.
It was Avijit's birthday, and I went to hug Yash ji, and he was shivering. He had fever. ये बहुत लेट हो गया फंक्शन तो भी आया। So I said, I just walked in from the shoot. He says, यार मेरे को बड़ी बुखार हो रहा है। Then I went on to have dinner and all, and next evening I think he was in the hospital.
Only 70?
I remember one night I had a dream that my father is here in this studio and he's sitting in a full black suit. I'm there next to him and he's like, "Why are you not here?" Got up in the middle of the night and I realized that something is wrong. My brother's downplaying it.
Chopra has been hospitalized since Saturday, being diagnosed with the attack of dengue.
Oh no.
Reporters reporting live from outside the Leelavati Hospital in Mumbai, where at 5:30 p.m. Yash Chopra passed away.
I had promised myself that I will not cry. But when I saw the film and the last 15 minutes of that film, I cried and how. Then Adi, good old Adi, he came to me and he said, "Look, Mom, Dad always said that I'll die with my boots on."
That was like his thing, and he not once or twice every day. He says that my ideal way to go would be with my boots on, and that's exactly what happened.
I hope he got to come back home in time.
The consolation that I had was, like, my father never saw a single day of old age. He's done his job. You know, he's set us up. He's given us everything. He's done. Let him go. You know.
I think Adi, he misses his father every day, as do we all.
But I think it broke through there in ways that I can't express.
I dream about him a lot, and always the same dream.
Dang.
To have a 50-year career and really be at the top of your game. So his first film was a big hit, and his last film was a big hit.
Wow.
It was 1959. His last film was 2012.
Would you like to say something?
मेरी टेढ़ी मेढ़ी कहानियाँ मेरे हंसते रोते ख्वाब सुरीले बेसुरे गीत मेरे कुछ अच्छे बुरे किरदार सब मेरे हैं उन सब में मैं हूँ बस भूल न जाना रखना याद मुझे सब जब तक है जहाँ
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, a privilege, an honor, and thank you so much, Yash.
After my father passed away, I felt there are a lot of people who are feeling a void. And I realized they are now looking at me to fill that void.
Okay, now I know what that statue is. Yeah, because we saw that. I didn't know what it was.
I feel this is something that he wants me to do. And I'm telling him, okay, I'll get there.
Aww.
He's very international in his thinking. He's, at that time, used to, a lot of exposure to a lot of Hollywood, American TV. The dream of mine was to get Broadway in India.
Wow.
Theme park was a huge dream of mine, still is.
Oh, that would be that would make sense.
And I think YRF could do that.
Wow, he's got a lot of ideas. He was still going.
That's where we were.
Yeah.
He told me once that he put his entire life savings in making this studio. It's a very professional corporation with the heart of a gentle commune. He's operating in quite the same way. That this is who we are. This is what we are here to do.
Wow.
Bravo. Wow.
That's a very, very fascinating insight into a film studio that has been so instrumental in making some of the most influential films in, well, at least Hindi cinema, but I was going to say India.
Yeah? I mean, I think you could go so far as to say India.
It's fascinating because I don't think I've ever seen anything like this on an American film studio. Looking at that kind of insight as to how an American film studio was developed and who it came from and like the hardship and the ups and downs of like someone's personal journey. The only person that we've looked at on that level that I can think of is Walt Disney. He's the only person who's been examined on that level with like photographs and documentaries and like really like the chronology of his career and ups and downs and all that stuff and the wild successes he's had.
Well, I think what's cool about this, and I mean, I imagine maybe it might be the same for Warner Brothers because it says brothers, but like this is 2 generations in a family.
Yeah.
Like it's super interesting to see how it was created, how it was handed down, how it carried on growing under different people in the family, right? And I think the thing that really surprised me was just how emotional I was getting and how sad I was getting when we reached the part in the documentary when Yashji dies.
Yeah.
And I was like, they've done such a good job of like getting us invested in their story, in these people, that for me, Yash Chopra isn't someone that I have like a strong relationship with, right? Like it's not the same as like how I sort of know other like Hollywood directors or something, and like really like they're in my brain. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like I know of them, but like in this documentary, they really showed him as such an interesting character, as like a nice man. And you could see just how well loved he was by everyone that he worked with. I just imagine how cool it must have been to work on his sets, because when you are working in a joyous sort of environment, every day is just fun. And I can understand why people would just want to be around him and stuff. And so like I was just so broken.
Yeah.
Finding out like how he died and everything. It was really sad.
I think though, you have to consider the fact that you are very familiar with a lot of the people he's worked with.
Yes.
Right? And so when you're seeing the testimonials from their perspective, their reaction to it, knowing how it affected them affects you. You're living their experience vicariously as they kind of go through those stories again, and then those moments of them not being able to quite properly finish their sentences because they're having to like relive that in their mind as they're talking to the person off camera. Like you're feeling all of that. That's coming through.
And they did such a good job of showing him as not just a director, but a father, a brother, a husband, a mentor, a friend. You know, like when you build the character, and I'm going to call it character, even though it's like, you know, he was a real person.
Yeah.
When you build it that way, you really invite us into his life story, into everyone's story here. And like, we feel for everyone involved, and we feel their pain with his loss.
I mean, they did a very good job of opening up, and whoever edited this series did a great job of putting all those clips together and, you know, marrying it in such a way that created such an emotional effect that we could have. Because it got me too, but the thing about it is when it comes to parental figures and you're deep diving into that and the loss of a parental figure, it doesn't take much.
No, that's true.
To hit me and to crack that dam. It's like anything like that, it kind of messes with me, and I'm like, like, why do you have to go here? And it's something that like most people at some point will have to deal with.
Yes.
You know, and so it's in many ways, it's like, even if it's not a parent, if it's a friend or a sibling or, God forbid, like a offspring of some kind, like everybody in this world experiences loss at some point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, so it's the most universally, besides love, death is the most universally relatable thing. When it's like when you're experiencing the death of a loved one, someone that you care about. And that kind of loss is like one of those things that, you know, there's a lot of people who don't really properly experience that until a certain age. And when you experience it, like whatever that feeling is, you can't really convey that to somebody else.
Yeah.
It's like losing a parent. It's the weirdest fucking feeling, that this hole inside you that is difficult to deal with. And so when he's talking about it, it's like, oh, like I can see in his eyes what he's dealing with as he's trying to get through it. It's like, for myself, I just try not to acknowledge my own loss most of the time. He'll come into my dreams and stuff like that, but I just try not to talk about it, because then it just fucks me up. And I think that because you're constantly putting it away, because you're just trying to focus on going forward, when it creeps up like that in something like this, where it's like kind of inviting that thought.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been hiding this very well for a long time. So when you watch a movie or a show that brings it up and you're identifying this thing that you've dealt with, it's like, it's not fun. It's universal though.
Yeah.
You know, I think they did a great job with this, and I really went on a journey with these 4 videos of the creation and the legacy of YRF and what the influence and impact, its lasting impact and legacy that it will have for generations to come. And it's also inspiring in a lot of ways as well, because you've got the perspective of someone who didn't come from money, as far as I can tell, and someone who did. You have both perspectives on that, and that's interesting.
And also the perspective of someone who did it for the love of the art, for the love of just making film because it's what he wanted to do and because it made him happy, and he just wanted to be in that creative space with a lot of like-minded people, to someone who is super analytical about all of that and able to look at it as a business and see how to grow it, and who's like very corporate in that sense. And so it's interesting to me that, you know, the studio started from just like a more organically, and then it turned into this massive, like, well-respected, I guess, behemoth of Indian cinema.
I just really appreciated at least what seemed to convey a lot of honesty here. I appreciated that aspect of things. I feel like we get that more in Indian entertainment than we do with American entertainment. I mean, we're seeing it more in American entertainment now, where things are just sort of like front and center because of social media. But the way Indians tend to handle these types of conversations tends to feel a little bit more blunt and honest. And that always surprises me because I'm not used to that. And so the way they sort of unzipped and conveyed how Aditya how he is on set, it's like, that's crazy to me that they're so honest about this, because they're not making him look like a lovable guy. They're making him look very militant, and he's just very honest, and much in the way that Steve Jobs, wanted honesty about his own personality in his book when he went. And so I think that's commendable to be able to have that kind of forthrightness and honesty. I think that any good piece of entertainment should do this in some way. It makes me examine myself. And it makes me ask, who are you between Yash and Aditya on that spectrum? And I definitely favor, like, at least behind the scenes, I favor Aditya.
Yeah.
I'm a lot more like militant and very like particular about how I want things. And then when I get on camera, I'm more like Yash. Like, people have, like, it's just like the weirdest like thing, right? I hope after seeing something like this that I can take what is inspiring for me here to find a better middle ground off camera of being that person who's, is steady and with his particulars, but also is able to convey it with the personality of Yash Chopra.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like he did such a great job of having like a creative and delightful environment that he fostered.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what Shah Rukh Khan was saying. It's like, if you're going to be on set for 100 days with someone, may as well be with Yash Chopra, right? Because like the thing that a lot of people don't realize, I think, when working on a film set, is that you want it to be with people who you enjoy hanging out with, and that's why a lot of directors tend to work with the same people, because once you find your people and you're having fun, it's almost like you get to be a kid again, and you get to play, and you get to hang out with people who you enjoy hanging out with, making stuff that you're excited about. But when you're in a situation where you absolutely hate the set, or you hate the people that you're working with, it's so freaking miserable, right? Because you're contractually obliged to hang out with these people for like 12 plus hours a day for however long, and it's just like, this is not fun anymore, It
was fascinating to me that Yash Chopra was able to, and a lot of greats are able to do this, like Tarantino's the same way, where you're able to have all this pressure of what a company's making a movie, and have it smile on your face, have that joy that you're able to give everybody while owning all that pressure, and confidently telling this story. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's because it's like, to me, I understand Aditya's perspective when he's making his movies. It's like, he's a very analytical guy.
Yeah.
So he feels everything behind and in front of him,
But he was saying, like, when he's on the set, he feels happy. It's
Aditya?
like, it's like all that stuff. He can kind of let it go, because when he's on the set,
they still conveyed instances of him not being the coolest guy when he's on set.
No.
People would try to visit him. He's like, why are you here?
No. But like later on, when he did his third film, Rabne Bharati Jodi, like, there was a lot of stuff going on, but he said that while he was working, he just felt so much joy. And I think it's like this thing where for both him and Yash Chopra, right, like, they're artists, and so it's like you get a lot of joy from just creating the thing that you want to create,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I appreciate the honesty that, that it seems to be coming through on this in-depth detail that they gave us with understanding. I mean, they managed to get a lot across in 4 videos, which is surprising to me, because you're covering 50 years of history, basically, in 4 hours time.
Yeah.
And they managed to do it while making me feel things.
And be entertained.
And be entertained.
Yeah.
And, while Achara and I have been, watching Indian films for more time than your average Westerner, we still don't know as much as like a cinephile from India.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah.
And so
we're still learning.
Despite that limitation, I was able to extract a lot from this, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, this was done in such a way that I feel it's accessible for so many people, for people who know Bollywood. I know they hate that term. Who know Hindi cinema really well. And also for people who are maybe just interested or curious.
I know it's not my place to say. I don't think the term Bollywood is negative, and it shouldn't be perceived as negative. I think it's endearing in its own way. Yes, its origin might have started out as a joke or an insult of some kind, but a lot of things start out that way and then end up becoming the coolest term. I mean, there's plenty of people who compare Bollywood and Hollywood and look at Bollywood with a positive association, whereas they'll look at Hollywood in the same breath with a negative association.
Well, yeah, and like you can definitely own it and just be like, yeah, this is my industry, and it's super cool, and it's different from others, and it's not trying to be like others. You know, it's got its very own identity, and I feel like what Anushka Sharma was saying, like that's really important to cultivate. It's what makes it different. It's what makes every international cinema market like different, because audiences are different, storytellers are different, the culture is different. You're gonna experience a different thing every time you watch something from another country.
You know, instead of calling it Bollywood or Hollywood or Sandalwood or Collywood,
yeah,
they should just call it Cinit Desi.
Wow, how about that?
Too late.
It's already taken.
I was just like thinking in my head, I'm like, what the hell could you call it? I've been wondering about that for the longest time. Like, what could you call it? Because saying Hindi cinema or not that, saying Indian cinema is just a mouthful, right? And I think that the word Indian wood or something like that is already taken.
Really?
I think so.
Oh.
And it just but it means something for like it means actual Native American wood.
Oh, gotcha.
And so it's like it's hard to find something that's just easy, and I think that's why terms like Bollywood, Tollywood, Collywood, Sandalwood, all that stuff, Mollywood.
They roll off the tongue.
They just roll off the tongue. It's just easy. For those of you that don't know, Hollywood wasn't always the term here. It was Hollywood land. And they took out the word land. And there was like, there's a monument that most of you are familiar with called the Hollywood sign.
The Hollywood sign, yeah.
And it used to say Hollywood land. And they got rid of the word land from the monument.
And it's like, it was like a real estate sign. That's what it was, apparently.
Oh, was it? I didn't know that part.
It
Okay.
was just like a random for real estate or something. I might be wrong, but
still, it's like that, you know, the term used to be longer and they just wanted something more shorthand. And they got it. So, I don't know, man. But again, it's not my place to say. I'm just a tourist here. So, you guys, thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I'm JABYBHAI. This is
Achara Kirk.
Peace out.